Okay, I think we're live. I'm just checking my audio level over here. I checked it earlier and it looked okay. But of course, I always like to make sure once I'm live that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. So, hi, happy Saturday. I'm glad there's a bunch of you here. Thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate you guys being here a few minutes early. I know that I always look forward to these Saturday live streams, and of course, I love seeing you here, kind of waiting. And I try not to keep you waiting too long. Usually, just a couple of minutes. While I make my last minute adjustments. So again, hi, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. Sorry we didn't do a live stream last week. It was we had a lot going on last Saturday, and it was I had to save all of my energy for what was going on, or I was going to be burnt way too early. So I'm sorry I wasn't able to do that last week, but here we are. Again, thank you guys for hanging out with me, even if it's just for a couple of minutes today. Looks like we've got Duscient Nail Art. Thank you for stopping by and saying hi. And we've got El Jedi says hello there. Well, thank you guys both so much for jumping into the chat so early on. Really appreciate that. I'm sure more people will start to funnel in just because it's just now when the live stream is scheduled to start. So yeah. Sven is here. Arnold. Arnold says, hey, have you ever seen Tractor keeping track of your vehicles? Any similar Docker apps that you know about? Tractor, Tractor sounds familiar. Hold on, I want to make sure I get the right thing. Vehicle. I want to make sure I got the right thing. No, not. I don't want you to. No, you suck. Always trying to like correct me. Man, hold on. We're gonna say Docker maybe. I'm gonna make sure. There we go. Tractor. There we go. Whoa. When I look up Tractor for Docker, it involves Plex. There's Tractor. There's Tractor Auto. Let's just jump into this real quick and see. Oh, that's not helpful. Let's try this. No, that's magnetic resonance imaging. That's definitely not it. Yeah, this is Docker container for tracking Plex TV show. So I don't know. I feel like I've seen what you're talking about. Docker vehicle tracking. Let's see if I can get it this way. Okay, this. Okay, let's go here. I think this is it. Vehicle tracking management system. It's an open source web application for comprehensive vehicle management, track fuel consumption, maintenance, insurance, and regulatory documentation for all your vehicles in one place. I've seen Lube Logger. I thought this was different than what it actually is. I've seen Lube Logger. In fact, I made a video about that. I don't even remember when, but let's see. Yeah, Lube Logger, June of 2024, so almost a year and a half ago. So you might take a look at that. That would be my suggestion, as something similar if you're interested in that. We got Sven. We've got a couple of Svens in here. Saying hi from Belgium. Jason Budney is here. Pathar says hello. Philip Beasley says howdy. Pathar says, how are you, sir? I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Guess if we can come back over to here for right now. It's been a busy week. I've got a lot going on. Just life and stuff and all that kind of stuff. So, and of course, I'm working on like 3 separate videos from some companies that have reached out to me. That I think will be fun. In fact, one of those involves those indirectly, so that'll be interesting. I just need to get that script recorded. I need to I need to tweak it just a little bit. And then I need to get it recorded and get it out. And then I've got a couple others that I'm working on as well. So keeping busy while I'm still also trying to put out the regular Docker content. So, lots going on. Did the Halloween thing last night, which was really just, we gave the kid a couple of big handfuls of candy and said, go to town. And then we went and watched Rocky Horror Picture Show like we do every year. So it was good. Just kind of hanging out. So I had a good time. Let's see. El Jedi says, everyone push the like button. We want more diffusion. Well, I appreciate that. Okay, you're gonna look at Lou Blogger. That's awesome. And speaking, like I mentioned a moment ago, I mentioned that I've got some content coming out that's sponsored in some capacity. One of the videos that I've got coming out is technically sponsored, but not financially. A piece of hardware was sent to me to take a look at, to give my opinion on, to share with the community. And it is, I want to be transparent about this, it is coming to Kickstarter, right? I want to be very clear about that. The reason I'm bringing this up is because I saw something that made me sad this morning. It was brought up in my Discord in a private channel with just me and my mods. And it turns out that Jim's Garage is also getting this same device. This is the Alaris One. I've had mine up and running for like a week. It's been great, minus a couple of caveats, but they're working on it. Just a couple of things in the background that I think will take it to the next level. I don't know if what I told them had any influence, but they were open and receptive to what I said. You guys can't see it. Desktop. There we go. This is the Alaris One. Well, it's the picture of the box. This is from Jim's Garage. Jim's a cool guy, makes great content. And like, look, see, I have one too. And what bothered me isn't that he's making this content, because I would be a hypocrite for making the same content, right? What bothered me was the comments or the responses to just this. Just excited to test this one out, and it's a picture of the box. And people without knowing anything about it had a lot of crap to talk. Oh, AI box, meh. Cool, that's one aspect of it, but you don't know anything about it, and you're making a judgment, and that sucks. This person at least asked a relevant question, but again, without knowing more about the box or about the device itself, knowing the cost doesn't mean anything. This guy really kind of pissed me off. Like, coming up, another review video for a product nobody asked for. Cool. Jim you're not entitled to Jim's time. You're not entitled to make decisions on Jim's behalf, or mine for that matter. Channel is starting to go downhill, but hey, it's your channel. You can put out whatever tickles your fancy. Yeah, that's exactly right. And it just this comment was just like, was it helpful? Did it actually bring any value to the conversation, or are you just being pissed off that somebody's making content that you're not interested in, and because you're subscribed to that channel, you feel like you have the authority to tell them what they're allowed to post, what they're allowed to talk about. If you don't like it, they can't talk about it. Get bent, right? Like, this comment was so unnecessary. I agree, people suck. The same thing, like, this one wasn't as bad, but like, bro, you don't know anything about it. Like, you Googled it, you saw that it had AI as a marketing term, and it does, because that's part of what it does. And AI is the new big thing right now. And everybody wants AI in their home, and AI. And like, look, I'm not super big on it, but I've been testing the box, and it's pretty cool. It's just as a point of interest. In fact, you know what, let me pull this up over here, because I want to make sure I get this information right. Because, oh, damn. Do I know? Oh, I do. All right. Message retracted. That's interesting. Wonder what that was. Let me take a look. Oh yeah. Oh, I understand that. There we go. So the device has an Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX. It's got an NVIDIA 5090 in it, with a 24 gig 5090 in it, as well as 96 gigs of system memory. So it's a little beast of a machine that's actually relatively low power. It's a mobile chip on both the CPU and the GPU. But again, 24 gigs of VRAM, 96 gigs of system memory. In fact, you know what? Here, look, this is my instance of it. So like it's a cool little device, and it sucks when people just jump in and start making crap comments about something that somebody else is excited about. Like, oh, you're not excited about it? Cool, don't watch the content, move along. But I just wanted to rant for a minute and give my opinion on people being crappy to other people. Like, look, I love this community for the most part. I do. Like, you guys have made it possible for me to have a lot of flexibility in my life, and I value that more than you'll ever know. Being able to just be like, I can't today. I can't. I need to just sit and do nothing. I have that luxury because people watch my content. And I think because I'm a content creator and because Jim is a content creator, I think Jim's also got like a real job. People view content creation as less than, and that sucks. We're out here to give you guys entertainment to consume, very often mostly for free, and for people to just be that rude and that nasty to people for no reason. And it's just, it makes me sad that there are people in the community who are just, oh, I don't like it, so it sucks and you don't matter, and you matter less because you made content about something I don't care about. As I said a moment ago, get bent. I would say a lot of other things, but I'm trying to keep it as family friendly as possible. Jan, thank you so much for the gift donation there of membership. Like, why would they disparage something they know nothing about? Social media has made it easy to be a dick about, and nothing usually can be done about a keyboard warrior. Yeah, it's absolutely correct. And it's just like, we're excited to share something with you. And, if my content was like about, I don't know, network cables, right? If my entire content strategy was around network cables, I guarantee after a while, I wouldn't be excited anymore, and you'd know it. You would see it in my face, you'd see it in my presentation, you would see it in all of that kind of stuff. And it's important that creators, whether it's me, whether it's Jim, whether it's anybody in the creator sphere, sometimes we got to make a video we don't want to make. We want to pay the bills, and that's just how it is. And sometimes we're gonna keep our content consistent from what our community expects from us. But sometimes we need to make content that maybe is a little outside of what our community expects from us, because it's something that we're excited about. Sometimes making a little bit of off-kilter content that's outside the norm of what we would normally make can reinvigorate the creative spirit in the content creator that you guys love to watch. Again, not necessarily me, but very often me or Jim or even Linus or whoever, right? Like, sometimes we have to make a piece of content for us and to help get that spark back, to reinvigorate what it is we love doing so much. Because making the same content over and over and over and over, while it's what we do, sometimes it can get old. It can get demoralizing to make a dozen videos about note-taking apps, because it's the only thing that came out in the last week that isn't vibe coded, right? Like, it's just, people forget that we as content creators are also people who have emotions, and we have our up days and our down days, and we have all of these things. And as soon as we try to do something for us that will make us feel better, people are just like, oh, well, you're garbage and this channel sucks now. Cool, unsubscribe, go somewhere else. I don't care. So there's that. I don't mean to be ranty or whatever, but it sucks that people feel like they they are owed something. And to a certain degree, maybe that is the case, but they're not owed everything, and it's just one of those crazy things. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm feeling kind of ranty this morning. So I guess let's switch gears for a second. And like this happened yesterday, and I'm really excited about that. I genuinely never thought this would ever happen. And I didn't do a live stream. I really wanted to do a live stream about this, like as it was rolling over or as it was getting close. But again, some people suck and they'll just like, oh, unsubscribe, oh, resubscribe, oh, unsubscribe, oh, resubscribe, just to keep those numbers bouncing. Jeff Geerling just recently hit 1 million subscribers and witnessed that for himself firsthand. I wasn't able to make the live stream for his 1 million subscriber rollover, but other people did, and they told me that like people just kept clicking unsubscribe and resubscribing just over and over and over again to mess with the numbers. I don't get it. It's some weird power trip that people have. I just genuinely don't understand why people are like that. It genuinely just doesn't make sense to me. So Jason says, I'm subscribed to so many channels, tech and non-tech, that I just pass up the stuff that doesn't interest me. If you don't have anything good to say, keep your pie hole shut and move on. Yeah, agreed, man. There's a lot of content, or a lot of people that I follow that, they'll go through lulls or lulls. That's rude. I apologize. They'll start making content about a certain topic, a certain project, a certain something that I just don't. I don't care, right? And it's not that I don't care about the creator. It's I don't care about that project. So it's so I don't watch them until their next project comes up that I am interested in. And I think it's important that we still support our favorite creators however we can. But if content doesn't interest you, I go leave a comment, something, or skip it. But like, don't be a dick about it. Zero Linux says, "Congrats, brother, you deserve it." Well, thank you, I appreciate that. Jan says, "100K, so nice. What a fantastic milestone." I agree. I'm really excited about it. Like when I hit 50K, I thought I kind of figured that was it. That was where it was going to stop, or start to kind of peter out. When was that? It was a few years ago. I'd have to actually go back and look at my analytics, I think, to see. Oops. October 7th, 2022 is when I hit 50K, roughly. Well, so October 7th was when I did a live stream about it, and I lost a ton of subscribers. So that's one of the reasons I didn't do it this time. But yeah, so I'm super stoked to be at 100K. I'm waiting for them to verify the authenticity of all of that, so that I can get my little silver play button to put back here somewhere. Ladish says, "Congrats, thank you very much." It is so. Sven asks, "What's the soft drink that you're drinking today?" This is Olipop. It's this, and I'm a big fan of these. Let me see if I can show. So, man, 40 calories, 30 milligrams of sodium. Total sugars is 2 grams. Dietary fiber is 5 grams. And that's total sugar, including the 2 grams of added sugar to the can. So it's actually like healthy when you compare it to like Coke, that sort of thing. It's not no sugar, but it's again 2 grams of sugar versus like the 20 plus that's in a normal soda. And it's fiber. It's got like a quarter of your daily fiber in it, and that's been a huge help for me lately. Lots of protein and fiber. It's been great. Let's see. A channel devoted to network cables, 8 strands of happiness, right? Yvonne, I screwed that up, says, "Congrats on the 100K. Thank you very much." Ethan says, "I have a Homelab too. I'm a new subscriber too." Well, thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Regards from Mexico. That's awesome. Thanks for joining. Flameberg says, add some whiskey, make it better. I've actually considered it. So there's a ton of different flavors, right? There's like, this is cream soda. I've always liked cream soda. But there's also like grape, and there's like classic cola, and there's a ton of different flavors. But I always thought that maybe adding a classic cola or adding some whiskey to the classic cola would be like a Jack and Coke, and I thought that might be really good. Here's the thing though, if you don't get enough fiber, and most people don't, if you drink 2 of these in a day, it's gonna wreck your evening. So be careful if you get these. 1 a day for most people will give them more fiber than they typically get outside of that. And when you do too much fiber the first time, it'll mess up your evening. So I'm in the middle of waiting for my Ethernet cables arriving. Going orange and blue cables. That's really cool. I got these for that. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure these are the right one. Yeah, so I got these just so I could have like the nice looking thing in the front there. But then with the Unify stuff having the light up, I didn't know that these were going to come in handy, because the ports on this light up and it will actually make these glow. Unify has their own custom, like these are obviously clear, like you can see there. Theirs are kind of frosted. And I'm really, really happy that I got the clear ones, because it worked out really well. Olipop's are good, too expensive. I agree with that. We actually got them at Costco, because like normally they're like $2.50, like $2.50 a can if you go like to Walmart or whatever. We got them at Costco for like, it's like $1.50, $1.25 a can, which is still twice what it should be. But low sugar, high fiber, there's trade-offs, and it sucks that healthy stuff is way more expensive than just dumping corn syrup in it and calling it a drink or a thing. 19 different flavors. And I've had, gosh, I don't know, a half a dozen, but I love them. I haven't had a flavor that I didn't like. That said, I haven't tried the root beer because I don't like root beer. My wife loves root beer. So those are all her, but yeah, so it's, everything I've tried, I've really liked. So, let's see. All soda is expensive now, unfortunately. It wasn't until we got Olipop that I got back into drinking soda of any kind. Since July, I've been being way more self-conscious, more conscious about what I've been eating and drinking, right? Like I've been good. I've been trying to really pay attention to what I've been putting in my body, and trying to balance mostly good stuff with a little bit of bad stuff to kind of keep me going in a forward trajectory, right? So I cut soda out because of all of the sugar in it. I cut candy out for the most part. I cut cakes and crackers. I cut all that garbage out. And I say garbage because I'm still making it garbage in my brain so that I only have a little bit of it, because I would eat it all day long if I let myself, right? So it wasn't until we found Olipop that I started getting back into soda because of its high fiber, low sugar kind of thing. Let's see here. Man, I was hoping. Ethan asks, are you familiar with Christian Lempa? I also watch him. I am familiar with Christian Lempa. In fact, he interviewed me once a few years ago, and I was hoping I could find that interview. But yeah, I jumped on a live stream with him, and we chatted for a while. And looking back at that video that live stream we did together, I was kind of a dick, and I've always hated that. And like he was Like his channel was considerably smaller than mine. That wasn't my mindset, but his channel was considerably smaller than mine, and he has blown me out of the water. He makes such good content. He's very thorough. He's very good at explaining things. The one thing that I will say is his stuff from the last time I paid attention was that his stuff is much more. Corporate's not the right word, but like real world out, like data center level, kind of like. I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's much more. It's less Homelab like this, and more like big kid toys with regards to servers and production operating systems and procedures. Enterprise, thank you. That's exactly right. Thank you. Enterprise was the word I was looking for. Like when we did that interview, I think I was at like 50,000 subscribers and he was at like 20. And now I just crossed 100 and he's at 260, right? So he has blown me out of the water just because he's in a different level as far as what he's talking about in his presentation. He does a really good job with his content. So, yeah, I'm definitely familiar. Let's see, $22 for one can shipped to Norway. Holy crap. Let's see, everything in moderation is 100% right. I've been kind of going on like an 80-20 rule. Like as long as I'm good 80% of the time, I can let things slide about 20% of the time. And that's just something I've started working on. So I'm still at like a 90-10. Like I actually ate candy for the first time this week in a really long time. And it's because I was afraid that if I brought sugar back in too heavily, that I want it more. And then I realized after having a couple of pieces, it's like, oh, that is way too sweet. So I didn't have much. So yeah, so it's still something I'm working on in my brain. But I've been real happy with the results. So, okay, I don't know. I know I will, let's see, I'm Googling this FAXE CONDI. I've never, ONDI. I don't know what that is. The Danish soft drink produced by Royal Unibrew since 1971. It was originally sold in bottles. It's probably primarily a beer brewing company. Huh. Is it, what does it taste like? Oh, it's kind of like Sprite or 7-Up. Interesting. It's that right there. I would try that. I've always been a big fan of trying new things. It's a big roller out there, hard to stand out. Yeah, it is. Also just got a 5-port TP-Link gigabit switch. That's awesome. I've worked with TP-Link in the past, and they've always been. Your favorite one is called That, huh? You mean that song about never giving up? Yeah, I've worked with TP-Link quite a bit over the years. They've always been really nice to work with. Currently, though, they're being investigated by the Department of Justice for possibly being tied to the Chinese government and spying. TP-Link DOJ investigation. If you remember a few years ago or several years ago, time doesn't mean anything anymore. When Huawei phones were banned, because of the manufacturer possibly installing malware or something on the phones or spying through phones or something. Yeah, the U.S. DOJ is investigating TP-Link for similar. I don't know that it's true or not, but it's been going on for a while. Yeah, it's an antitrust investigation. This goes back to December, where they were considering a ban. They're considering a ban again. This is August of last year. So it's been going on for a while, and Again, I don't know all of the details because I don't. Everybody's got their story. Everybody's got their spin. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle of what both sides are saying. Because my understanding, and again, I'm not huge into foreign politics, but my understanding is that Chinese companies are required by law, and again, I am speaking out of what I think I heard once somewhere, that Chinese companies are required to basically gather information as much as they can. Companies required to gather data. Chinese companies required to gather, okay, that is, yeah, so again, so this is kind of a both sides kind of thing. So it's hard to say what's real and what's not, right? So when they actually reached out to me recently that to take a look at one of their products, and I was like, I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know that it's in anybody's best interest for me to do that with this investigation going on. And like, well, if that changes, let us know. So we'll see what happens. Flameberg says TP-Link, DJI, Huawei are basically banned in some way. While that may sound like protectionism for local business, also consider the Chinese spyware kill switches. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I think there's something like that going on. And in fact, I think I just saw a thing recently about DJI like having knockoffs of their own devices. DJI knockoff gimbal. Man, I think it's the XJJJ maybe. Anyway, somebody showed in a video that I saw the other day where they had like taken them apart. And like everything in them was identical. Like everything down to the boards inside of them were identical, but this other one was like $300 cheaper and didn't have DJI branding on it. So I don't know if it was the same thing, or what. Let me see if no, quit. I don't care. Man, I don't. Jeez, guys, relax. Holy cow. Sorry, I'll never find it here. But anyway, yeah, like there's everybody, and it's not to say the United States isn't doing the same thing in some ways in other countries, like, but it's always a tightrope that I have to walk with regards to like the kind of content that I can create, because I don't know if I make a video about this brand or whatever, is that going to be an issue before too long because now I've conspired with the bad guys or whatever. It's a tightrope I walk between that and what content I can make on YouTube. Ethan, yeah, man. If you want to post pictures over in Discord, just head over to the pictures channel and post it there if you want. I can even bring it up. We can talk about it here on the stream. I'd love to do that. We've actually talked about doing that. I've just been a garbage human being about making that a thing that we're going to do. But yeah, if you want to post it over there, happy to take a look at it. Zero Linux says TP-Link and D-Link are the only two brands sold in my country. I guess that doesn't necessarily surprise me. But I say that as somebody who's completely ignorant, again, to most anything outside of the United States. And it's deliberate ignorance because there's so much going on here. They're trying to keep up with this thing going on here, and everything else is a lot. It just is. Also, TP-Link recently became a CVE numbering authority and is now hiding, not doing anything with their own CVEs. That's awesome. That's magical. Okay, I'm relaxed about it. If someone wants to spy on on what I'm doing in my home lab, they're welcome. Yeah, like I'm not doing anything too nefarious over here, so I'm not super worried about it. But it's still kind of that same thing of if you just because you don't have something to hide doesn't mean that other people might not want their data viewed outside of their control. And it's a big issue that we have here. Like, yeah, I think it's this one. Yeah. So currently there's a company here. Well, I guess it's kind of all over, but there's a company called Flock, and they make AI cameras that that monitor what's going on. It's kind of this stuff that you've seen in dystopian movies, from years ago, where there's a camera everywhere spying on everybody and, reading license plates and reading faces and that sort of thing. And so there's this going on, and people are pissed about it. They're Flock cameras, and you can see, I don't know, I think this website just covers, nope, it might cover more. I'm zooming out. Maybe I've zoomed out too far. Maybe I'm breaking. Oh, there we go. Here, okay, so United States over here, that's all I've ever looked at. But like, you can see all of these Flock cameras everywhere else where they've been reported, so that you can have an idea of where you might be being tracked by AI cameras. And it's getting to be kind of gross what's going on with surveillance, and it makes me sad that that's where we are. That everybody is just constantly surveilling everything, and something you didn't realize that you were doing could be used against you in any number of ways, and it's really gross. All right, Ethan, thanks so much for stopping by. Looking forward to checking out your pictures. It's also one thing when we think China is stealing our data for whatever reason. It's another thing when you have someone, say, trying to adjust your insurance premiums based on illegally obtained data. Exactly. Yeah, there was, gosh, what was it? There was something, and there's been several movies about that. But there was one, sorry, nope, it wasn't. It was actually Watch Dogs 2. No, but one of the Watch Dogs games, it was a big point of contention. It's one of the Watch Dogs games, but also Minority Report and Deja Vu, older movies, but still kind of the same idea with cameras everywhere, constantly surveilling everything. But the insurance premium thing, that was a Watch Dogs video game. So I hope my spy can tell me where I put some of my documents, because I simply can't find them. Dude, I get that. I get that. I have recently lost a browser tab that I had open. I managed to find it, but it wasn't without a lot of swearing and frustration. I would probably still be running my Omada switch and AP, but updates would disappear and no other way to get them, compounded by the PF since because I moved to Unify. Yeah, Unify's been great. Like I've been a big fan. I've worked with them in the past. I've had their gear off and on over the years, and it's their older generation stuff. I had a lot of issues with updates, where updates would just crash things for like an hour while it thought about what it was going to do. I need to do updates across all of the devices here in my house. I got a couple back here and a few scattered throughout that I need to do updates on. But I'll get to it eventually, I'm sure. In fact, I'm going to take a look here. Updates. Yeah, like these are all updates that I need to do. This is my Home Assistant, but I've got it tied in here so I can do my updates from here. I've just got to wait till nobody else is in the house so that I can do this without causing any issues for anybody. So yeah, so that's something I got to do. But I've been really happy with the new Unify stuff. I haven't had any issues with it. taking forever to update or anything like that. So that's been really great. I've been really happy with it. Let's minimize that. Oh, you know what? There was. So this week we took a look at Tugtainer. The name kills me, man. Like, it's just such a silly name. But apparently, since my video came out Wednesday, they've made a bunch of changes just in the last like 18 hours, 17 hours, roughly. And they've changed a bunch of stuff. I don't know if they saw my video or if they are, if it was already on the roadmap or whatever. But their documentation got way better, which I think is great. And they've also changed a couple of things with how things are getting deployed, that sort of thing. So I definitely want to take another look at this, I think, because I think this is a ton better. This is a ton better. This is the documentation I was hoping for initially. Develop to do add unit tests, filter notification, don't notify, already notified. Oh, gotcha. DOSL integration, swarm support, add release notes, remove unused dependencies, do not update stopped containers. So anyway, I think this is great. I love seeing. Again, I don't know that I had any impact on this at all. But like, this is the documentation I was looking for. And I think this is amazing. And I really wanted to call that out because somebody commented on that video this morning that a bunch of stuff had changed. So I went and looked, and they definitely did. So I'm super stoked about that. It's just me, so I do updates when I want. You're awfully nice about your updates. I run them as soon as available. I don't know what anyone is doing on the network. Updates in the middle of the night works like a charm. Oh, I don't care what anybody else is doing on the network. Yeah. So here's the thing. When you've got an autistic kid who really wants to watch Scooby-Doo or Brave, and he can't do that because some part of the network is rebooting, that can cause issues. And it's even tougher. Like during the summer, it's not as bad because he very often is outside jumping on the trampoline or playing in the pool or whatever. But like when it's cold, like it is today, like I think it's only going to get to be like 60 degrees or something today. Yeah, high of 61 today. Tomorrow will be nice at 78. But as it gets cold, it's so much harder to do that. I have to wait till he's literally not here, and hope that the wife is playing video games or something, and I don't have to boot her off the network for something. So I try to accommodate those sorts of things so that we don't have people getting upset that they can't do the thing that they were in the middle of doing. So it's part of life when you got a family. So I only update when I know I have the energy and surplus, because sometimes things just go wrong. Yeah, they do. And I am so far behind on certain updates, so far behind. So yeah, it's one of those things that I'll get to when I get to it. Hopefully sooner rather than later, okay, let's do this, right? We're hanging out, we're doing our thing. Would you guys rather take a look at what's going on in the self-host newsletter? Which is this that I already had up because I'm not paying attention to what's going on. Would you rather look at this, or would you rather look at Alaris and talk a little bit about that so you can get an idea of what this upcoming content is going to be about? Which of those two things would you rather do? I'm all ears. I can relate. My wife's at work. My neighbors cut the optic fiber on our street. YouTube goes poof, no hotspot available when the kids. Oh man, yeah, Plex for the win, absolutely, absolutely, Plex for the win. Big fan. Actually, Zero said he'd rather look at Alaris. That's cool. So I just recently this morning, maybe I can actually pull it up. Let me see if I can pull this up. Photo newsletter. Okay. Oops, let's just do this. Wow. Let's just do this. Hopefully, I knew it was going to ask me for that. I'm just trying to get signed into something so I can show you a couple of pictures. Do it that way. Of course, it's going to do that. Because it's something I did this morning I was really happy with. Not my idea for the record, what I did, but I'm still super happy that I got it working. Cool. So I did this morning. So this is my kid's TV that's in his room. I know it's huge. We got a new TV because his old TV was dying, and we just cycle him through. But we're trying, because again, he's autistic, he's nonverbal, he has a hard time with fine motor skills, like using a remote, like a TV remote. So I did this. It's an old Kindle Fire or Amazon Fire tablet. I don't know what they're called anymore. Like, he doesn't necessarily need this, but this will show him what time it is, obviously. He doesn't care about the weather, but I thought, let's fill up this space. And here, so obviously this button is TV off, right? And it does exactly that. It turns the TV off. But this button will turn his TV on, open Plex, and start the show that he was watching last. Then we can turn his light on and off with a simple click there. And then this is just because I'm keeping tabs on what the battery life looks like, because I just literally installed this morning. So this gives him some flexibility in his ability to, here, this is a better picture. If the TV is not on when he comes in and he wants the TV on, he can push the button and turn the TV on and get his own show going. I don't currently have it set up so he can select from his Plex list or whatever, but for right now, he can at least get his show going. You get a license, right? Again, this is something I probably will at some point, but yeah, I probably will. But I wanted to test. This is a fully kiosk that I wanted to test out. I've heard really good things about it. It's like $8 a year for a license, and I will probably do that because I think this is going to work really, really well. Did you get your 3D printed mount on it? Yeah, I had to go with a different mount than I originally thought that I was going to go with, because the mount that I was originally looking at was meant for like a horizontal mount, and I didn't like the aesthetic of it being mounted horizontally, so I went with a different mounting solution, and this just like slides up and out. I'm gonna later today. I'm gonna have a charging cable that will plug into here, and it will go up. And then the battery percentage comes into play there, because I can then, once I've got the smart plug that's out for delivery or will be here soon, I'll be able to enable and disable that plug based on the charge. So I can keep the tablet charged between like 25 and 75%, so that it's not just constantly always 0 or always 100. I can kind of let it cycle without doing a full cycle one way or the other. So I'm waiting on the smart plug. It's a Zigbee smart plug. It's a Third Reality plug, if anybody cares, that I'm going to mount like behind his TV, because this is right below his TV. And then we'll be able to kind of keep this charged at an appropriate level. And if I ever need to, I can slide this out and take it out or whatever, if he's being a dick or whatever, We tested without a license too, then bought it. Permanent one, by the way. One off per device life. Yeah, and that's, that's weird. Oops. Fully kiosk. Let's look. Yeah, because I'm curious. Because I will likely buy licenses for multiple. One-time payment per device for being able to use all. Okay, so like $8. Okay, yeah, I was thinking, or I say $8, €8. So it'd be like $12 to $15 per device. But it'll give me lots of options there because I want to get, obviously, the one in his room. I want to get that one licensed. I want to get one for our bedroom so that we can more easily control things. And I actually want to get one for out here in the studio that I can have mounted in a couple of different spots depending on what I've got going on. But that's my plan, is to eventually do this once I'm super happy with the setup process and all of that. So we'll see what happens. But I'm liking fully kiosk. I like that with like let me switch this over. I want to make sure I'm not showing anything I shouldn't. I'm trying to be careful about that. Oops, that's not my home assistant, right? Settings, give me just a second here, fully kiosk. All right, let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. So like this is fully kiosk on that tablet showing up in my home assistant, and I love that aspect of it. So, you know, like I can adjust all kinds of different things on here. You know, the screen brightness, I can turn kiosk lock on and off. I can load the start URL. If I need to refresh the page, I can do that from here. I can restart the device. I can restart the browser. There are all kinds of different things in here I can do. But somewhere, there's a thing in here about the battery percentage. Oh yeah, it's right here. Battery percentage is 87%. You know, and like it charged up and just, that was at 850. It was at 100. So in 2 hours, it's lost 13%. So yeah, I'm gonna do the automatic charging solution that was actually somebody brought up in my Discord the other day that I thought was brilliant. I didn't even consider doing something like that, but that's my plan. Again, the third reality plug will be delivered this afternoon. And then I'm going to get that set up, and I'm super excited about it. I think it'll be a lot of fun, which reminds me, damn, that's not what I thought it was. I was hoping that, oh, maybe it's in here. So I don't know how long some of you guys have been watching my channel, but a couple of years ago, I made a video about a Raspberry Pi. Basically, it was a head unit in my car built on a Raspberry Pi, and in that solution, I had a couple of these, and it's just a little U-shaped thing here. And I was hoping that's what these were, but these are HDMI, and I need USB-C. Oh, it's right there. Oh, I found one. I can't believe I found one. That's amazing. So that I can kind of hide the cable, kind of wrap it around the back and then run it through. It'll be great. And you guys will just have to believe me. Maybe I'll make a video about it. I think it'll be fun. But that's something I did this morning. I started working on it yesterday just to see if I could get it to work. And then I was like really happy that I was able to get all of this information into Home Assistant. And now I am way more motivated to do more of that when I get the opportunity to find my other tablets. Let's see. Or is this just mounted via one of those self-adhesive magnetic strips, like 10 of them straight to the fridge? That's an option. And I say that as recently I did something similar with the remote for his TV. It kept getting like knocked off of the table, like between the table and the couch. So I got a magnetic strip and put it on top of a speaker that's well mounted. and then put a piece of metal, like I had to bend a piece of metal around the back of the remote and put it there. So sometimes janky's the way to do it. Spectacular Austin says, congrats. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Forsaken One says, I add a picture of my setup to Discord. I guess you can call it a Homelab. No fancy network to speak of. Well, let's take a look. This is all in public over on Discord. Supermicro X10DRH-IT with a total of 71 terabytes of storage. Holy crap, dude. Dual Xeon E5 2650s, V4 with an M2000 GPU and 320 gigs RAM. Holy crap, dude. Running Unraid and lots of Docker containers and a few VMs. That's cool. Man. That's a big case. Oh, you guys, damn it, I suck so bad. I apologize. That's a big case. With what, 8 hard drives in there. That's with room for more if you really wanted to. That's really cool, man. Sorry, I was just looking at the wiring. I was confused for a second, but then it made sense. Like for some reason, I thought the wiring down here was drastically different than the wiring down here, but it was just the way this wire right there was messing with me a little bit. No, that looks great, man. That's a beast of a machine. I wonder, do you know what the power draw is on that? Just honestly curious. Gonna pick up another Home Assistant tablet on Black Friday. Does your cycle the screen off and on based on motion from the front camera? I actually think that it can. I think there's actually a setting. Yeah, or motion detection right there. I haven't tested that one yet. I haven't, but I might. I think that would be kind of neat. I'll turn it on and see what happens. No, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to mess with them while I'm not in there to help if something goes wrong. Let's see, I saw that vid because I really wanted to do that, but I don't think the hi-fi is good enough for what I want. I don't know the power draw. Fair enough. I wasn't sure if you knew or not. I'm always curious about that kind of stuff. Let's see. Let's come back over here. Oh, hey. Nice. Let's see. Oh, Pi Radio. You know, I had thought about doing, there was a, I feel like there was a, like it wasn't pirate radio, but it was something like that, that I thought about doing for a while. But just honestly, just never got around to it. All right, let's see. All right, so this was shared, and I got permission to show this. So we've got a RackNerd 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 U's, which is great. We've got a TP-Link switch there, I think. Little setup. I actually really like. Let me see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. I like the idea of doing this. I've actually considered myself, like on either side of the camera, and then possibly a little bit over here, adding some of these little sound dampener things. I've got a stack of them back here, but I've considered doing something similar to that, just to help improve my audio a little bit. Because when I was over on the other side of the room, I was in a corner and I put up some curtains that helped muffle some of the sound a little bit. And I've noticed that from here, I've got more of an open space. There's more space behind everything here, and it makes this not sound as good, whether it's this mic or that mic or my other mics or whatever. And I've thought about adding some kind of buffering around to help keep my voice from traveling as far and affecting the audio that I get from my wireless mic here. So I actually really dig that. Here we've got a Homelab. Of course, I don't see anything here. I've got so many of these little USB hubs. I've got so many of those. They're in a drawer over there in case I need them. We got a team group SSD for what's going on there. And of course, power supply up there. I can't read what it says, but it looks like it all works, and that's awesome. No, this is great. I think that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that with me. I love the idea of just taking what you've got and making it work. Oh, it's an Asus. All right, cool. Well, thank you again. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. Oh wait, you actually shared some more close-up stuff I missed. Let's come back over to this real quick. Let's take a look here. All right, so again, we've got, these are much deeper than mine. I feel like those would be better than the ones I've got because they're a much deeper channel. It's like you are deploying a new container there. I dig that. Love the keyboard. Looks like a Corsair. That logo right there makes me think Corsair. But I don't know about keyboards all that much. Like I've got a DOS keyboard 4 Pro Ultimate. My wife's got the 4 Pro, and then I've got a tinted thing that I use primarily. I like the kind of images that muffle sound. Yeah, so yeah. I wonder if I can get this to work. Do I have... Okay, I've got this. Hold on. I'm curious if I can get this to work. I'm going to come back over to me for a second. And then I want to come over to this. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to fix something here real quick. I'm going to deactivate that. Click OK. We're going to give this a second. Hopefully... 192.0.42.40. Yeah. Do I need to deactivate it? Oh, I need to activate it. Duh. Dumbass. Like those muffles sound. Oh, that is upside down. Like that. That's been back here for a month or two now or something. And it actually does a pretty good job of not allowing a lot of echo to come back, and I super dig it. And it's bright and it's colorful and it's ridiculous. And I just thought it would be fun. So I put that up a while back, and it's been in some of the back shots, the backdrops of some different things. In fact, when I did the live stream about setting up those mini PCs with Ubuntu server, that was in the background of that thumbnail. And I've done some other stuff with it recently here as well. Got the colors from Christian Lamp, but yeah, the blue that he does looks really good. Watching nothing. Yep, Halloween. His name is Ralph. Huh. Oh, interesting. But yeah, so that's... but anyway, so all that is to say, I've been considering... in fact, I guess I can just do this. Just to show you guys kind of what I'm thinking about. I have this. There we go. Right? Hey, look, there's Discord, and there's you guys. But I've been, because like that's the door that goes out into my backyard, and of course wall. But I've been thinking about putting up some foam, kind of like to go from here to here to kind of fill up this area, and then something over here a little bit. And I need to take that microphone down anyway, which is shotgun mic there. But just to help kind of keep the sound here versus traveling out, and not sounding as good, even though I've got the microphone right there. It's still a thing. It's still a thing that I'm always considering, and trying to make things better whenever I can. So yeah. Let's see. Plywood wall with those on it. No, they're just, so I didn't actually glue them to the wall. I've got a finishing nail holding each one in. I was just real deliberate about where I put everything, and I used one finishing nail to hold it to the wall, and then I'll fill the hole later whenever I take them down. But yeah, so I'm always working on. I'm always working on different ideas. Oh, the one meant to attach to the back of the desk. Maybe, I don't know. I'll definitely figure something out. I've got here. Since we're here and we're doing this, right? Okay, so here's the camera that I'm always looking into, right? And is mounted to the back of my monitor via this. So I've got a mounting solution that I can incorporate somehow here. That I can come up with. Maybe I'll 3D print something that I can work with there. And then again, same thing. Obviously, on this side, I can come up with a solution there that'll be lightweight and give me the opportunity to keep the sound from going beyond the camera and keep everything a little bit closer to where it actually needs to be. But I think if I mount something to this on either side, I can make it work pretty well. Anyway, that's my thought anyway. So we'll see what happens. I'm always messing around with stuff, trying to figure out what the plan is, how I can make things better, that sort of thing. I know it may not always come across in my content, but I'm always trying to get better. Yeah, exactly. 3D print a frame for them that fits in that slot, right? And like I can print something that'll have like a G1/4 accepting hole in the bottom or something. I don't know. Oh, you know what? Hold on. So what I could actually do, now that I'm thinking about it, is use these. I don't know if you guys have seen these before, but like these are meant to like go on your wall. And then there's different things that clip into them. Oh, I've got those too. Oh, as I knock stuff over. Oh, geez, there's a lot more up there than I thought. Yeah, here we go. But basically, like this is a bigger version of that, obviously, and like there's a shelf that goes here, and I can put my digital caliper that slides right into there. And again, all of this just mounts to the wall, and then I can use it as a shelf or something. But I've already printed these, so I could put one on either side, or put maybe a couple of them on either side, and mount the foam to that. And I think that would work really well. That's something I just thought of. So that might be the solution right there. Mental says hello. Well, hi. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate seeing you here. I forget about 3D printing because I don't have one. That's fair. Yeah, Kate. That's originally how I found it. I don't know if that is her project, but I paid for a subscription to be able to download some stuff. Some of the full packages, but yeah. So I've printed several of these that are around. In fact, it was before I even rearranged the studio, and I was going to do something with them, and I never did. But like I think these will actually work really well to mount the foam to. And mount to and mount to the back of my monitor there to help keep the sound. In theory, I haven't tested it yet, so I may just be talking out of my butt like I usually do. Thinking about making a wall full of old motherboards. That would be cool. Linus's team did that for one of his offices at one point, and painted them all like a one color kind of thing. It looked really good. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Niche Monk says hi from Germany. Well, hi. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate seeing you here. Hope you're having a good weekend. You're in Saturday evening right now. I'm not quite, just a little after 11 o'clock in the morning over here in Colorado. That's weird. I'll have to take a look at that later. So let's see what else we got going on in here. Make sure I didn't miss anything, because I do that sometimes. Let's see. All right. Well, we got one vote for Oleris, and we got one vote for newsletter. So that's not super helpful. That is not super helpful. That's all right though. That is all right. It's supposed to be my job to keep things moving here, right? So let's see. Let's take a look. We're gonna scroll down a little bit. We're gonna just jump right into the software here, I suppose. Take a look at the newsletter for a little bit. 6:10 p.m. So yeah, you guys are 7 hours ahead. Cool. So we got some software updates from Bezel. Newsletter's always fun. That's fair. So Bezel updates include an initial support for smart disk health data, which is great. An Alpine Docker image, which is great. It is less resource intensive, and it's smaller. New environment variables, improved temp chart, and battery detection logic. That's really cool. Darowitch, family group features for sharing and real-time tracking, full screen on map page ARM64 miner images. Huh. I guess I'm not familiar with what Darowitch is. Self-hosted alternative to Google Timeline. Okay, that makes more sense. Ganymede is live streaming. Ganymede watched Blacklist. What is this? Oh yeah, we can't talk about that one. Getty has had some updates. Stream repository archives by default. Support for 3D CAD file previews. I love that. That's awesome. I should update my Getty instance. Streamlined edit file workflow, basic auth for archive downloads, configurable remote name for Git commands. That's cool. GoDoxy is a reverse proxy that got some API updates. New rules for playground page, light build variant with smaller image size and static web UI. Headscale, significant database migration and schema change. I imagine that would be a breaking change if it's a database migration and schema. Be breaking changes with that most likely. Hortus Fox, I still need to make a video about that. He actually reached out to me the other day and let me know that there were some big updates that I had mentioned when I was chatting with him a while back. So I love that. Image got a V2. That's awesome. With OCR capabilities, UI improvements. That's great. Media Manager, Memos got some updates. Automatic S3 image thumbnail generation. Mason really out. Cool. Open Archiver for backups. File encryption at rest. Data integrity verification. I love seeing data integrity verification. That's awesome. Outline is a wiki. I think we've looked at Outline. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I feel like we've looked at Outline. Maybe. I'm pretty sure we've looked at Outline. Well, I'm glad they're still working on that. Actually, I wanted to see. Yeah, we had to have, if it's 3 years old. That's great that they're doing more updates on it recently, 4 days ago. That's great. Pie Gallery, Posterizer, Ready? I don't know what that is. So it's like a location tracker. It's a comprehensive personal location tracking and analysis application that helps you understand your movement patterns in significant places. Comes from the Finnish meaning route or path. Interesting. Huh. It's a great looking design. Like, that's really impressive. Like, I really like that. That's really well done from an aesthetic point of view. Though I'm curious about where real-time data ingestion, live location updates via own tracks and GPS logger mobile apps. Own tracks. Okay, so you can put own tracks on your phone and then import that data into here. Okay, you can it's also got that. It's also got image integration, location-based photos, interactive photo viewer. That's really neat. User management and security, geocoding and address resolution. Wow. That's pretty cool. The problem that I would have with this, with reviewing it or talking about it, is that there's a 0% chance of me not giving away where I live if I made a video about it, because I'm almost always home. Like, there are obviously other places that I go, but I'm almost always home. And so it would just give away where I am. And as much as I would like to review this, I don't know how I would load it with like filler data. But I love the aesthetic. It looks really, really good. Let's see, Riot, beta support for Netflix. Again, that's more media tracking stuff. Warwicker finally got a version 1. That's awesome. We looked at Warwicker not too long ago for warranty tracking and that sort of thing. Renovate Automation Administrator Audit Trail, new model number field, global language expansion, refactored the Docker image, and it's got model aware search. That's great. Watch Track is kind of the same as Riot, sort of. And then Wedding Share, not something I'll probably ever cover. Sven says, have you looked at the time machine for Home Assistant? I've seen it, but I haven't actually looked into it yet. I feel like it was mentioned in here. Yeah, it's actually in the content spotlight. So we will definitely look at that here in a little bit. Let's see, new apps. Ardeen for accounting. I've talked about a couple of accounting things in the past, and I don't like to talk about accounting things or spreadsheet things. Like the folks at Grist, GRIST, reached out to me a while back about doing a collaborative thing. Somebody asked me about Grist yesterday in a comment. And the thing is, like, I'm not knowledgeable enough about things like Excel spreadsheets or accounting software to speak in any kind of knowledgeable way about them other than saying, hey, look, here's how to install it. Best of luck. And I don't like making those videos. I feel like they're disingenuous. And it's not that I don't want to make those videos. I just don't have enough information about how to use them effectively to speak in any kind of intelligent manner about them. Sorry, I was just hoping. There's no pictures in here. I hate it when developers go through this much effort to document this well. Like, the documentation's amazing, but there's not a single picture anywhere in here. And that makes me sad. Like, take 30 seconds and grab some screenshots of your app and put them in here. Show me what I'm getting. I of course I want to know everything you've told me here, but show me what I'm getting. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. It was not you. The receiver that I had plugged into the 3.5 millimeter jack has been in the charging case this whole time, but apparently it shut off for some reason. Yeah, battery died after an hour and 21 minutes. So that's good to know. Yeah, no, that's interesting. So I'm plugged in via USB-C, plugged directly in. This should get me going for a while longer. Sorry about that. It literally never had that happen before. Let's scroll back up. Talking about finances in general, I've used Maybe for some time, but then things started to break and they deprecated the project. And that sucks because Maybe was one of the more popular ones for a long time. It sucks that they did that. Hopefully you're able to migrate your stuff out and do something different. I hate having to search for a screenshot. I want to see what the app looks like before I start using it. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I want to know what it looks like, because an app can sound great on paper, but if it looks like garbage, if the UI, the UX, user interface, or experience is garbage, then all of the best intentions in the world can't make up for that. Yeah, your free trial has ended. That's funny. A GPS tracker for the mic, right? No, just I didn't realize that it was only going to last for about an hour, or I wouldn't have switched. I feel like the audio is better on the wired device versus the USB-C device, which doesn't make sense really, but you know, my brain's dumb sometimes. So anyway, all right, so new software. That's where we are. Ardeen, which is invoicing and time tracking for freelancers and small teams. I love this. I wish I'd had something like this when I was still doing web development and that sort of thing. But yeah, I love the idea of it. But again, show me a screenshot, man. Don't make me install it to find out what it looks like. CodeBar, web-based barcode scanner for identifying and adding albums to LiDAR. That's kind of neat. I got an itch. A container consensus, manage containers and generate report to share with others. What? Oh, Sven, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. That's really nice of you. Thank you so much. Let's scroll down. So container census is a lightweight Go-powered tool that automatically scans your Docker environment across one or many hosts and gives you a clear historical view of everything running on your stack. Community stats on container usage can be found here. What? Interesting. So, well, that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. So it's kind of building a community of sorts. Showcase. All right, I dig this. I'm gonna have to get in touch because this is really neat. Like, this is an opportunity to like showcase your Homelab, or like, this is really neat. Frequently asked questions, welcome self-hosters, polls, favorite homepage. Yeah, no, this is really cool. I'm gonna have to reach out to GF here because it looks like GF is the person running this. We can see all of the different containers. I love the community aspect of this. Looks very vibe coded, but still interesting. I don't disagree with either of those things. I think there are some aesthetic choices that I would make that would be different than this. But again, everybody's got a different aesthetic. Mandy, hey there. Glad to have you here. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're 7 minutes early.
I don't want people to start getting upset.
She brought me tea. Yeah, but so there are definitely some aesthetic things that I would change here. but I love the idea. I love the idea of the community aspect of it. There's release trackers in here. I guess I would be curious. And again, look, he put pictures. I can see what I should expect here. This is very cool. Here's our Docker Compose. I mean, I would have to see. I'd have to. Oh no, this is not sweet tea. This is honestly, I think this is just Earl Grey. Big fan of Earl Grey, but hot tea. I'm a big fan of hot tea when it's cold, and it is. So super glad that she brought me some. Okay, Container Census includes an optional telemetry system to track anonymous container user statistics. This helps understand trends and allow you to monitor your own infrastructure. I think this is cool. I love the idea of being able to participate in the community if you want, but not be required to. And here you can run your own analytics server with the telemetry collector. I think this is great. I really dig this. Yeah, no, this is really well done. The documentation looks really good. The images, again, the aesthetic, I think the front end could use a bit of an overhaul in my opinion. But as far as getting started, I think this is amazing. I'm really excited about this. We're on version 1.4 with it says 2+ releases. This was last week. So we've gone from 1 to 1.3 to 1.4 in the last couple of weeks. I think this is cool. I'm going to keep my eye on this and get an idea of what all it can do, because I think this is cool. And I think I'm going to reach out in somehow to this person. They don't have any contact information here. I may have to open an issue. Oh, that's the wrong tab. So that was the right, okay. Yeah, I may have to open an issue and reach out to the developer, because I think this is very cool, and I would love to chat with them about this. Because again, I love the community aspect of it. The community thing is really, really big for me, and I love this. He's got agents for remote hosts to feed data back to your private telemetry collector, or choose anonymously share stats with the self-hosted community to see what's trending across thousands of self-hosted environments worldwide. I think that's amazing. I'm going to keep my eyes on that one. Let's see. Favicon API. It's an API service for fetching website favicons. That's an interesting thing that I don't understand the need for. Fetch and serve favicons with multiple format options. Okay, I guess if you wanted to put them on grab the icons and put them on your own dashboard, maybe? Yeah. Get a favicon, resize, convert to PNG. It's an interesting idea now that I guess I've put some thought into it. But I don't know that it's something I would ever actually use. Fire up project management. I feel like I've... So it's going to be a Kanban. Okay. See, and this is the other side of that, right? Hey, there's an image, but it's not of the actual project. It's a very generic. It's a great looking aesthetic image, but doesn't really give us much in the way of what it looks like. Even if I scroll all the way down, it's Fira, it's a homepage. This doesn't, and this is, I'm so confused. Well, probably won't jump onto that one at any point soon, but if only at the center there was a real screenshot. That's what I'm saying. Like there was a picture, and congrats for that, but it wasn't anything relevant. We've got Gosuki. Collins is here. Yay! Thanks, Collins. Glad to have you here. We've got a lightweight open source privacy first bookmark manager that unifies your bookmarks across several browsers, syncs them all in real time, locally or peer-to-peer, requires no extensions, and stores everything locally. Interesting. We've got videos. We have videos, but we don't have pictures. Man, I like the idea of this. I guess there's, in fairness, there's really, the demo is a video. Like, for real? The demo is a video. Nope. Nope. Again, I don't mean to be a dick, but like, some simple screenshots, guys. Like, it's not Happy Deliveries and email deliverability testing platform. Homey. We actually looked at something kind of like this a while back, I think. Yeah, with Homehub. This looks like, this looks kind of like the same functionality as Homehub with a different aesthetic. And that's fine. I actually really liked the aesthetic of the other one. The thing I will say that's different here is this does have OIDC or authentication, which is good. Rather than just having like one admin account, other people can toggle between the others. I think this is better in that regard, and I say that only based on reading this. Having it be, actually having the ability to have users is definitely something that I think is better than a Homehub at this point. Yeah. So anyway, I think that might be interesting to take a look at some point. I have to think about that one. NetVisor interactive network maps and visualization. This actually, I think I saw this on Reddit the other day. This NetVisor, and look, this is what it should in theory spit out. Scans your network and identifies hosts and services and generates interactive visualization showing how everything connects, letting you easily create and maintain network documentation. I would be curious how it would split up my network, or how it would demonstrate my network with it being Unify. Like, would it actually show me what was on on different switches, or would it just scan subnets? I guess that's what I'm kind of curious about here, because this looks like just a standard subnet. This looks like Docker containers on this server on that subnet. Install it and let us know, right? Yeah, I may, because I'm curious. I think it's an interesting idea, so I'm definitely curious about that. Andrew says there was no stream last week, right? Yeah, no, I didn't stream last week. I had a bunch of people coming over, and I knew that if I exerted myself here, if you want to call this exertion, it would make my in-person stuff. I wouldn't have the energy later. My social battery would be drained, and I didn't want to do that. So unfortunately, no stream last week, but stream this week, yay! So super happy that you guys are here hanging out with me today, despite me slacking off last week. Let's see. Newton Tournament Manager, offline first interface for managing Dart tournaments. That is super, super niche. Interface for managing Dart tournaments. I haven't played darts in a really long time. I used to play with my dad when I was a kid, but it's been a really long time. Darkan15 says, hello all. Well, thanks for stopping by. Glad to have you here. Scuttle. It's a responsive web-based audio archival tool. Music streaming. We're not even going to go there. SendDirect. File sharing. Minimalist peer-to-peer file sharing. Oh, it's on GitLab, not GitHub. Okay, that's fine. Add your files. Create or upload files. Add files using the command line. And again, no pictures. Makes me sad. Makes me sad. Look, can I? What am I? Let's see. Get started with GitLab CI/CD. Analyze your code for known vulnerabilities and static applications. Deploy to Kubernetes. Huh. Interesting. Wait, hold. Is there interesting? I don't know. Sunny V says, I knew nothing about Homelabs 2 weeks ago. Since then, I built a TrueNAS server and installed apps thanks to you. My gaseous video got this novice set up for gaming. Either that's a typo or you got the wrong guy. I mean, apparently there's a ROM manager called Gaseous, and that wasn't me. I've never heard of it. So I think you got the wrong guy. Look, I'm glad you're here. I am. Thanks for stopping by. But I've never heard of Gaseous Games that we're looking at here. It looks like a cool interface. But yeah, no, I got nothing on that. In fact, I'm apprehensive to even make a video about a ROM emulator like this because reasons. Because that's just how it is with YouTube sometimes. Let's see. Sonar Analyzer, we're going to go there. Soul Solid, not going to go there. We can take a look at it, I guess. And again, no pictures. Guys, pictures. Documentation. Maybe this documentation has... Okay, so it's fine. It looks like other stuff that we've taken a look at here on the channel in the past. I'm always iffy about covering media related content just because the moderators at YouTube are a little out of the know, I guess. Let's see, Uptime Kit, simple uptime monitoring dashboard. Lots of these lately. Looks like Apache a bit. Yeah, a little bit. It does. I knew there was something. There's another one that we looked at because I don't know if I've ever looked at Apache like on the channel, but there's a couple of them that look really, really similar to that, and I think they're probably all Apache inspired. Right, Uptime Kit, a simple uptime monitoring dashboard to keep track of your websites and APIs, get real-time updates, beautiful charts, and know exactly when something goes down. Cool, and look, pictures. This looks great. This looks really, really good. We've got a real-time monitoring, multiple system types, individual charts, track response times, dark and light mode, responsive, which is great for mobile, so you don't need a separate app for it. Delete or edit or delete monitors anytime. Pause monitoring, see exactly when something goes down. I would be curious to know about notifications. Oops. Notifications are just up there. I'm not seeing notifications in here. It's got real-time monitoring, and you can track response times. And you can pause monitoring without losing data. And you can see when something goes down. I love the look of this, but I don't know that it actually has any notifications built into it. Monitors, contributing. Yeah, I think without notifications, then I don't know if it's ready for prime time without notifications. I think they're well on their way to getting there. I just don't know that it's quite there yet. Let's see here. Oh, what else we got here? Veterinarian, which is a web-based doctor for your pet snippet files. Forsaken One says, I guess because I don't run any sites, these kind of things don't make sense to me, talking about the tracking thing that you're looking at as far as like uptime and downtime and that sort of thing. I mean, even if it's getting notified when your DNS server goes down or your password manager goes down or your Plex server goes down, if you're away from home when something goes down, you could get notified. And if you had this available on the internet, you could keep tabs on that kind of thing. But that like I used to use something like that for a few of the sites while I was doing testing for different reverse proxies and that sort of thing. But sorry, I'm just making sure I haven't missed anything here. All right. But if those things don't matter to you, if you're pretty on top of things, then it wouldn't be a big deal. I'm too scared to expose anything to that, and that's fine. I've got a couple of different ways that I handle it. Like a lot of the stuff is being protected to the best of my ability with Cloudflare tunnels. Other stuff is restricted to only certain IP addresses can access some of my stuff. And like I'm not impervious to things going sideways, but I try to be careful. I try to be mindful of what's going on. So. But if it's not your thing, then don't make it your thing just to make it your thing. Make sure that you're well versed in what you're doing there, and that you're comfortable with what you're doing. Before you try to put anything super important online. All right, so Veterinarian, a powerful browser-based editor for your pet CLI command strips. I don't know what this is. A simple command line snippet manager. Interesting. So this is a graphical user interface for that. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. I was so confused about what was going on. Yeah, so this is a user interface for that. Okay. Wine tasting game, multiplayer web app for wine tasting sessions. This reminds me of an episode of Bob's Burgers, where they're on the wine train. No pictures. Guys, pictures. I hate to keep harping on that, but I'm seeing that a lot more lately. I guess. Guess wine characteristics, play with friends, test your palate, and compete with friends. This very much reminds me of an episode of Bob's Burgers on the wine train, where Rudy and the kids steal chocolate from the chocolatier on the train. Not my shtick. Not real big into wine. I've had a few that I like, but I would rather have a whiskey or a beer or something than wine most of the time. All right, and then there's that. When I go with my friend, it's hard to tell the characteristics from the second bottle, right? Yeah, so it's definitely not my thing, but I think it's cool that there's stuff out there where people can have little get-togethers and do those sorts of things. I think it's great. It's just not my thing. Alexandria is a note-taking app. I looked at this recently, and there's there's a picture, and it looks really good. I actually will probably check this out. Oh, there we go. That's a little better. Okay, so we've got Markdown. We've got a kind of a WYSIWYG thing going on at the top. We're getting real-time stuff over here. This looks a lot like other stuff that we've looked at. It genuinely does, and that's not bad. Looks like an AI image. I think they were like trying to make it look like it's on a tablet, and I think they've skewed it too much. But this is better. Again, it still kind of has that tablet look to it, but just discovered that Firefox has an issue where the chat freezes after some time. That sucks. Actually, I ran into that last week, not last week, before last, with chat crashing during a live stream, and I had to refresh the page, and it confused me for a minute. But let's see, share your notes, collaborate with others. Okay, so this is going to have users. We may have to take a look at this. Okay, we've got some content coming up, guys. Like, we've got some content. I'm excited about that. What was the other one? NetVisor. We're going to look at NetVisor, definitely. I need to get a hold of self-hosters. Yeah, we're going to skip over that one. But I'm really digging the idea behind this. Again, I know people are going to be like, well, just use Nextcloud. Cool, not everybody wants to use Nextcloud, but I love the aesthetic here. I think they've done a really good job with this. I love that there are pictures, though they are skewed the way they are. I will definitely be taking a look at this and making some content about it one way or the other. Bento PDF is a client-side PDF toolkit. Let's see. Privacy First PDF toolkit. Star history, that's cool. But no pictures, guys. Bento PDF. Oh, I see. So we've actually looked at something like this recently, or not super. There was a PDF thing that we did a while back that was very similar to this. Man, what was that called? Now I'm curious. PDF. Sterling. I think it was Sterling PDF. Yeah, that's the one, Andrew. It was Sterling PDF. Very similar. I would be curious if this is maybe a fork of that. Oftentimes it'll say. Might have to take a look at that too, because I know Sterling was a big hit. Like people really liked looking at Sterling. In fact, I had requests to talk about Sterling. Oops, that was the wrong one. Darn it, I clicked on the wrong Sterling. Yeah, let me see what the views on that one were. 35,000 views since published in 2023. Oh, it feels like it was like 6 months ago, and that was 2 years ago. That blows my mind. Man. Let's see. Mirandi says, did you get RSS set up? Yeah, I did. I actually did. And then I immediately forgot about it. So I'm like a week behind, even though I just got it set up. So, that's going well. That's going really well. Is it this? Yeah. Oh, hold on. Maybe I can do it this way. Oops. Hold on. There we go. Yeah. I did. I'm using Comma Feed. It was actually Nighthawk, one of the mods here on YouTube and in Discord, hooked me up with his list of things over here. So I deployed that and imported. I modified some things. I removed some things. I added some things, but I haven't touched it. In 10 days, Yeah, I deployed it 11 days ago and immediately forgot about it. So yeah, that's how well that went. I knew that's exactly what was going to happen, and it did. So go me. Let's see. Sterling PDF had some concerns with some pixels that they added. Are we talking like telemetry or tracking pixels that they added to their app? Because that's no good. We don't want that. See, hello, tracking pixels. That sucks, man. Well, then we're gonna have to look at Bento because we need. If that's the case, if we can't opt out of tracking pixels, then we need a way. We need a replacement for that. Let's see. Have you heard of Coder? I don't know. Can you give me like a like if we were looking at like this URL, can you give me like this in chat so I can go look at it on GitHub or whatever? I'm not sure which. There's 100 different things called Coder. It seems like these days. Goryman says I got a hold of 2 NVIDIA 48 gig GPUs, installed them on Proxmox and using an LXC pass-through. That's a lot. That's a lot of VRAM. I don't know if there is. And the other problem that I have, I've closed it, but the other problem that I have with Comma Feed is that there's no like public dashboard, right? You have to log in to see it. And that's a lot of work for me. And that sucks. So I'm still, I may see if I can export that, because I know it exports as like a TOML file. Oops, let me see if I can do it this way. Can I? Look, I know that I can export, right? Like I'm not concerned about that. What I'm not sure about though is the ability to like export into a like an XML file or what. So I want to see settings, unread, previous, next, refresh. No. So anyway, I got to figure that out because again, I like the idea of this, but again, if I've got to log in every day to read it, oh, it's just coder/coder. All right, well, let's look at that. If I've got to log in to see it, if I can't have it on a public dashboard like a homepage or something, I'm the laziest person you'll ever meet. Secure environments for developers and their agents. I have not seen this. This is way outside my scope or my realm of expertise or acquaintanceship even. I'm not a developer. I'm not a coder. And that's this is another one of those things like I was talking about earlier with we're talking about like finance apps or spreadsheet apps. I can say here's how to install it, but beyond that, knowing how to use it, knowing what to look for, does it have this feature or that feature that's beneficial to the user? I have no idea. And this has got 1,100 stars, or sorry, it's got 11,000 stars and 1,100 forks, which tells me that it's probably pretty good. But I don't have enough knowledge in this sphere to say anything intelligent about it. So I just won't. Let's see. Guardian is media streaming. Home Assistant Time Machine right there for backups. Home Assistant Time Machine is a web-based tool that acts as a time machine for your Home Assistant configuration. That's cool. Browse YAML backups across automation scripts, leveless dashboards, ESP home files, and packages, then restore individual items back to your live setup with confidence. That's really cool. That's really neat. This was brought up earlier. See, ingress full support for Home Assistant ingress, allowing seamless access through the Home Assistant UI without port forwarding, leveless backup scripts, ESP Home, and package backup support. Backup now button, that's cool. Max backups, authentication. Man, yeah, definitely gonna have to look at this because I love this. This looks really good. We're gonna have to do some more Home Assistant content, guys, because this is gonna be great. I think this will be really, really helpful because there's always, like, I've got it setting up backups and storing them on one of my NASAs, but I'm not 100% sure I know how to restore them, if I'm being completely honest. So my backups are effectively useless if I don't know how to restore them. So I think this might be a cool way to do that. So yeah, I'll have to figure that out. I think that's really neat. I think digging through that will give me a lot of stuff to dig through. So that's cool. Spent 3 hours writing a Python script to avoid doing something within Excel that could probably take 20 minutes to do. I'm a special kind of lazy. Love it. I genuinely love that. That's awesome. Oh, Collins, thank you so much for that. Collins gifting 5 memberships. It's okay. I just found out about it. But setup seems pretty complicated. I believe that. That's actually pretty smart. Now you start saving 20 minutes from now on. That's exactly right. So let's see, 6. If you do that task 18 times, then it will have paid for itself in your time building the script, right? Like, is that right? Yeah, because 18 times. I have a hard time with Home Assistant mainly because I'm not good with Python or YAML files. You don't have to be anymore. You genuinely don't have to be anymore. That's what I love about Home Assistant, because that's what turned me off about Home Assistant initially. In fact, I made a video about Home Assistant not being scary anymore. Assistant. Let's do a show all here. And it didn't do, I mean, it did okay. But that was July 17th of 2024. I made a video titled Home Assistant Isn't as Scary as I Thought. An overview and almost a tutorial. I guess I can share the link. Let me make sure I share the right link. I get the shareable link. This is the one I made about Home Assistant July of last year, because originally it was a lot of YAML files, and you can still do YAML files if that's your shtick. It's not mine. I hate it. I had to do some recently, and it confused me, but I got it sorted. I was really happy about that. But yeah, no, a lot of it is it's just graphical user interface stuff. They've made it really, really easy. Sure, right? Like if I want to edit this dashboard, or if I want to add something, like I can just click edit, right? And I can come over to here and I can do this. And I can say, I want that button, and I want this button to control one of these lights. I can do that, and I can click done. And there I turned off that light. Like, it's really just that easy to add things. Like there's obviously more to it than that in some cases, because I already had that light added. But going into settings and going into devices and services, like it found my Elgato key lights automatically. It finds my TVs if I buy a new TV. It found my Plex server automatically. Or you can come in here and you can say, look, I want to add a new Zigbee device. And it will start searching for Zigbee devices. Like, they've really come a long way and made it super, super simple to add things to Home Assistant. And, like if I come into here, I can go into like automations, right? And I've got things set up with a motion sensor in the bedroom. So like, bedroom lamps on when present. And it's just, you find your present sensor, and you're looking for a certain level of illuminance if that's your thing. If it's between these times, and turn these things on if it becomes occupied, right? It's a lot of just if, when, if, then statements, right? And you absolutely can, if you want to, edit it this way. But you don't have to anymore, and I love it. I love that you don't have to do this anymore, because YAML files used to piss me off. And it's what turned me off from Home Assistant for a really, really long time. So you don't have to go that route anymore if you don't want to. Let's see. Hold on. I gotta scroll back up because the scrolling on this sucks. Again, thank you to Collins for that. Is it enough to back up a database by copying the data directory? It depends. It depends on the database. Colin says, congrats on the 100K. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Appreciate you helping me with monitoring my stuff. So it takes running it 9 times to even take that amount of time. Students, others who perform the same steps now you're saving exponentially. That's true too. Electronics TV says, hello, what's up? Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for the 100K subscription celebration there. Forsaken One says, I've watched that Home Assistant video. YAML is a PITA. I agree with that. Yep. And there's me building N8N automations that I only use once for tagging my media library. That's hilarious. I'm setting up my Unify stuff in Home Assistant right now. It's so easy. It really, really is. I don't have any IoT device gadgets. Is there any use for Home Assistant? No. I mean, maybe. I just can't think of anything right now. Yeah, you could monitor your Homelab with it. That's true. Collins brings up a good point about backing up databases. My motivation for using Home Assistant was so I could turn the lamp on in my nightstand for my bedroom, my bedroom's light switch. Yeah, well, and that's kind of what I've done for, like, in the kids' bedroom, like with the tablet thing I showed earlier, so that, you know, he can turn his lights on and off automatically, because everything is a smart bulb in there, because otherwise he'll just flick the switch constantly. And I don't want him burning down the house. So I'm trying to find ways to help simplify things, and Home Assistant has helped me a lot with that. But, you know, when the wife has to yell at me to turn off his light because he doesn't have a light switch anymore, the tablet was the solution for that. So that's kind of my motivation there, is to keep everybody in the family happy. My motivation, yep. Do you like active pieces more or N8N more? I prefer active pieces, but I say that I shut down my active pieces server months ago. Like I'm not using either one right now. I used active pieces for like a year or something. I tried N8N and I didn't like it. It just, the structuring of it was just different enough for me, for my brain to not want to cope. So I just kind of walked away from it. I used active pieces for a while and had pretty good luck with it, though there were some things that I didn't like. Like they spent a lot of time focusing on certain things that didn't benefit me. Right. So selfishly, I took issue with it. Like I wanted to be able to like, I could have it set up so that it would like scan my YouTube channel like once every 3 minutes. And because that was like the shortest amount of time that it could scan an RSS feed. So every 3 minutes it would scan my YouTube channel to see if there was a new video posted. And then it would set off a trigger of events to post across social media, right? Really made my life a lot easier. I've actually considered bringing it back for that. But I also wanted to have the ability to have it just pull a random video once or twice a week to share to social media. And they never got around to doing that, to just pulling a random entry from the RSS feed. And maybe it's a thing that just can't be done, or it's not on their pipeline or whatever. But like if they had done that, I'd still be using it. just so that I could constantly kind of keep people or keep myself top of mind on my social media. Like, hey, don't forget to check out the video this time that whatever I did in that video, right? And then eventually I shut it down for some reason, and I went to bring it back up one day, and it fritzed out real bad for me, and just started posting manically across like all of my social media for a few minutes before I realized what had happened. It was like trying to post catch-up posts for like the month or however long it had been down. It was a nightmare. I had to go back and delete a bunch of stuff, and I just shut it down. I've thought about bringing it back up just to help automate a few things, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, let's see. Hold on, we got something going on over here, something shared in Discord. Holy cow. Who wants to come along setting up a Raspberry Pi high availability cluster? That's what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is that what, 6 pies? 12 pies? Holy crap. That's a lot of pies. That's a lot of pies. I'd be curious to see what you're going to do with that. What are you currently using for note-taking and documentation? Nothing. No, I use Numpad for a few things here and there. I use Git for some other things. I need to, now that I have everything kind of simplified with my Homelab, I've moved everything into more or less one. Hold on, I got to answer this. Sure. Hold on, might be dead and need a charge. So I actually need to I got that label printer I showed you guys a couple of weeks ago. And I've been like labeling what each of the devices in here are and the IP address and the URL to get there. But what I need to do is set something up so that my wife, if something happens to me, can go through and fix things. I also need to set up Olive 10. Olive 10 is another one of those apps that I really need to set up to help her. If you're not familiar with Olive 10, we've never covered it on the channel, but the idea is that there's just a video code on GitHub. Maybe there'll be pictures over here. Yeah, here we go. So from here you can do things like restart a Docker container, right? Click a button. I'd have this iframed in like on our Home Assistant tablet that I would have somewhere, and then she could just click that button to say restart Plex if something happened with Plex, or and so like this is another one of those things I need to do. But I need to do a bunch of documentation. I will probably do that with my Git instance. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I may set up like a wiki.js or something like that. I've been putting it off because the reality is for me, and I know I'm not the only one, but the reality is for me, like doing that documentation is kind of a facing my own mortality situation in my own head because I'm never going to die, right? But the reality is I am. And with my medical conditions, we don't know. Like if I get sick, it could trigger a whole chain of events that could put me back in the hospital like I did last January. So I think my brain is deliberately putting off my documentation process as a way to avoid dealing with the possibility of having to deal with the hospitalization, mortality, those sorts of things, which I know is a really way out there sort of thing to say, but that's how my brain works. Hey, it's the air duster thing right there. That's what he's after.
I thought it was the thing we showed last night.
Oh, it should be that. It may need to be charged.
Okay.
I think I told him that. So, okay, cool. Um, what do I use for file storage? I use a combination of things for file storage. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. Let's go over here. Um, so right there, there's a black box there with a little blue light. That's where most of my storage happens. That's sort of just my main file server is there. Above that, I've got two NASs on that top shelf that are each effectively backup servers for stuff on that server, on that NAS. But below that, down here at the bottom, I've got a ZimaCube with 6 8 terabyte hard drives in it. 2 of those hard drives run the VMs that are in there. The other 4 hard drives that are in there are passed through to a TrueNAS VM where I've got all of my media duplicated, and then I've got Plex running as a VM with a GPU passed through. And all of my media is actually stored on those 4 8 terabyte drives. So everything is happening on that device. So if anything happens, like worst case scenario, right? Let's say the house was burning down and I had to pick something. I could run out here and grab that little box, and it would have my entire Homelab and all of my media on it. So, I'm using a combination of different things to store stuff. I use a combination of mostly ZFS, I think, and whatever Synology and TerraMaster use. Is that not possible to build into Home Assistant? It might be. I think what I will likely do is set this up, this olive tin thing, if that's what you're talking about. Because there's documentation and that sort of thing for all of this. I'm curious about who. Oh, nice. But yeah, I will probably set this up, and then this way I have something, and then once it's up and running and I'm happy with how everything's working, I'll iframe it into Home Assistant, which I know is kind of a weird way to do it, but it's what I'm comfortable with. And it's got to be simple in case something happens to my dumb brain again, like it did a couple of different times. I got to keep things as simple as possible for that. And then my wife not being tech savvy, I need to keep it simple for her as well. Like she's getting way better as far as being tech savvy, but you know, we've all got our strengths. Hers is in medicine, mine is in tech. Same here. I'm almost 50, but I need to remain alive until at least 130 years old, so I can go dance on the grave of everyone who's ever pissed me off. That's pretty good. Yeah. So got time for docs later. Yep. To use any software to access files via the web. I have a hardware storage solution, but I want like a good Google Drive alternative. I know there's Nextcloud. You know, we actually did a live stream recently, I think. Let me see if I can find it. CloudRave. You might look at CloudRave. We did a live stream about it a couple of weeks ago. More than a month ago. Yeah, C-Cloud, CloudRave. Like that's the live stream that we did a couple of weeks ago. CloudRave. Let's do that. If I remember right, this does have a pro license thing that you can do, but it's not necessary. So like, definitely take a look. If you're a content creator or a nonprofit or an educator, I believe that there's different ways that you can get free licenses of the Pro. So definitely check that out. CloudRave might be an option. C-File. I looked at C-File a couple of years ago. It was fine. Was there audio? Was that? Damn. Oh man, I apologize if you guys were hearing that audio. I suck. New alternative to Google Drive, but not self-hosted, is Proton Drive. The guys from Proton Mail. Didn't Proton have a bit of an issue lately? Wasn't there some big drama about Proton Mail recently? Proton Mail drama. That was 3 years ago. OpenCloud, yeah. In fact, I've heard people switching from Nextcloud to OpenCloud. Oh, there it was. Proton Mail suspended journalistic accounts at the request of a cybersecurity agency. The journalists were reported. They were reporting on suspected North Korean hackers. Proton only reinstated their accounts after public outcry. So that sucks. Like, the whole point of Proton Mail is secure, anonymous. That's interesting that they would do that. So I don't know. Let's see what else we got here. I guess the last couple of things, I don't know why I switched over to here. The last couple of things in here after Home Assistant Time Machine, there was Notify, which is a modern web-based UPS monitoring. I actually need to look into this. I have a UPS. I can plug it into my network. I've never actually done something like this, and I probably should, because I'm way behind the curve on that. I'd also love to know I also need to know if there's a way that I can check my battery health. Because I've had these for years. I've never actually looked to see if there's a way to check the battery health. But I should do this. I should plug in my UPS and do that. All right, dude, you're crazy. It's cold out there, man. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm glad you're happy. I'm really glad you're happy. Go have fun. Cannot believe you're going to go play outside, but have at it. Close the door. All right, let's see. That got me thinking about another question. What are your thoughts on open source software requiring a license to use their software or access more features? I think as long as they're not gatekeeping the important things. Like we've talked about that a little bit. There was actually it was another live stream that we did, I think. Was it a live stream where we did hold on, I'm trying to see if I can find it. Because there was one. No, I thought we did a live stream on it. There was a reverse proxy that kind of did that. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can search for it. Proxy. Of course not. In fact, they had reached out to me about sponsoring some content, and then when I saw what they were doing, I wasn't happy, and I kind of called them out. Oh, it was SafeLine. SafeLine is a web application firewall, and look, I think it's a great product, but some of the very, very basic features that people need in order to adequately monitor their Homelab were behind paywalls, and I didn't like that. They eventually, and it was like $100 a month for the pro license, and that really got my goat, so to speak. And so I kind of called them out in this video, and it was actually better received than I remember it being. So there was this SafeLine video that I did. And they eventually did kind of a. There's I think there's a free tier, a Homelab tier, and a professional tier, I think is what they ended up doing. And it was like, they put notifications behind a license. That's what it was. Thank you. You're so much better at remembering my stuff than I am sometimes. And they finally made some concessions. Like they had it so that like even getting like Discord notifications or SMTP notifications was behind the Pro license, and that was $100 a month or $1,000 a year. Those were your two options. I think they've since changed it to be like $10 a month. SafeLine. Let me see. Yeah, my stuff got buried, which is fine. It's whatever. Let me see if I can find. Let's save point. Sorry, I'm looking here. Oh, they changed it. That's the same thing. SafeLine. Here we go. So it was this. They've changed this quite a bit. They've changed the URL from what it was. Plans and pricing. Here we go. So this didn't happen until a couple of us made content about it. There were a couple of other people who got sponsored deals with this, and I could have, but I was like, no. But there are still some limitations here, right? You can only have 20 apps on here at any given point. They did allow for Discord and Telegram notifications. That was the other thing, is they wouldn't give you notifications if you were being attacked. Like that was behind, and it looks like it still is kind of paywalled, but not quite as badly. So yeah, it's if you're can't export logs, right? It's I think developers need to get paid. I really like what the guys with Pangolin did. Because these guys, it's pangolin.net. These guys have a couple of different options, right? Cool, self-hosted node, get the basic features, great. $15 a month, you get 3 sites, 5 users. Like you can customize this. It's so they're like, here, look, you get all of this, but if you want a little bit more, then you can do this. And even at $15 a month, I don't think that's bad. Peter is back from Montreal. Glad to have you here. What is SafePoint for? So SafePoint, SafeLine, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a reverse proxy with a firewall built into it. So web application firewall, reverse proxy, protect your web apps from attacks and exploits. So it's got good stuff built in it. It's a good product, right? I think that their pricing structure is a bit aggressive. It is less aggressive than it was, obviously, but like these guys have pictures, right? And here you can see, it gives you an idea of like analytics, what apps are being viewed, how many viewers per app per page. It's got like analytics built into it. It can block certain exploits. You can block IP addresses. You can do geo blocking. You can do a lot of different stuff to protect your Homelab. So it's kind of like Cloudflare, but not quite. Oops, damn. So, but again, it's self-hosted. It's good for what it is, but it's kind of like Pangolin as far as that's concerned. But again, their pricing structure is super aggressive. And it's kind of one of those things, in my opinion, of how much is your privacy, how much is your data worth, right? And I think that's kind of an exploitative way to handle it. Which is what I kind of addressed in that SafeLine video that I made December of last year. How do they open source if it needs a license for certain features? I don't know. I'm not a developer enough. I don't do enough licensing stuff. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Buddy, go. Hurry. Thank you. Go. Thank you. Open source doesn't mean free. Open source means the source is open and available. Right. So I think all of the code is there, but they're using some sort of an activation features or activation server to facilitate unlocking some of those features. Again, I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, James Collins has got it there. Without Tailscale, self-hosting would be much harder for me, and I'm glad they offer a free tier. Absolutely, yeah. No, there's a lot of great solutions out there. I used Tailscale for a while, and then Cloudflare tunnels became a thing, and I wanted to be able to access my stuff on a domain name and get the Cloudflare protection. Like I'd been using Cloudflare for more than a decade prior to even getting into self-hosting. So when I saw that they had a solution that would allow me to protect all of my stuff, go ahead, and use a domain and restrict access and do all of that stuff, I switched almost immediately. Tailscale is a brilliant product. He always slams doors, man. And there are other services like Tailscale that are out there that don't use a domain name or whatever. I think Twingate is one of them as well. There's another one whose name also escapes me, but I think it's great that there are free options out there. And I think it's cool that that even corporations are willing to be like, yeah, you use our service, be safe. And I love that, again, Tailscale, Cloudflare, all of those are out there and doing what they're doing. 5AOE YT says, do you self-host any AI? Sort of. Technically, yeah. So earlier in the live stream, I was kind of complaining about Jim's Garage taking some flack from some of his viewers or subscribers about some AI content that's going to be coming out on his channel, and it's about the Alaris One device, and I've got one. Right, I got it a week ago, roughly. Man, how many windows do I have open? So yeah, I do actually. I'm going to close some stuff out here. We'll just take a look at this. I think it'll be fun to kind of dig through this a little bit. Let me close out some of this stuff, and let's switch over to my desktop now. This is Alaris One, right? This is the Alaris dashboard. What's cool about Alaris, the software, is that you can bring your own hardware to this, right? You don't have to use the Alaris One hardware that I've got that I'm testing, that I'm going to make some content about. And this is your little dashboard here, and I love it. You can change the, like that's not what I wanted. You can actually create your own like profile about yourself and have kind of a self-hosted like link tree thing of sorts through the Alaris platform if you wanted to do that. But like here are the apps that I currently have installed. And I've been testing some of them, like Comfy UI. I had some fun with that. It's currently turned off because I wanted to check some other things. And same thing with Ace Step. In fact, let's just turn them back on. If I go to applications, let's turn on Comfy UI. We'll give this a minute to spin up. And so it's resuming. These are both running now. That's good. If you weren't here earlier and thank you, Spectacular Austin. That's exactly right. It reminds me of Synology or Casa OS. When I talked to them about kind of my approach to this video, they kind of asked me to make that comparison, right? Because again, this is something that you can self-host. You don't have to have the Alaris One, but if you want to get one, it's coming. So this is the hardware that I've got. It's got the Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX. So let's take a quick look at that. Total cores 24. It's got 8 performance cores, 16 efficiency cores. Total threads 24. 36 overall peak tops. 5.4 gigahertz max turbo frequency. That's the processor that it's running. It's also got an NVIDIA 5090 in there. In fact, if we come over to GPU, we can see that's the GPU that it's got in it. It's the 5090 with 24 gigs of VRAM. Let's come back over to application. Nope. Integration. Where did it go? There it is. Nope. One more. There it is. And then it's currently in performance mode. There's also silent mode. But I've just left it running in performance mode because why not? It's got a 2 terabyte hard drive in it, or an NVMe, I should specify. It's an NVMe, not a hard drive. And it's pretty cool. Like, it took me a little bit to get familiar with. I have had a couple of issues that it turned out were my other computer having the issue, not the Alaris one having the issue. Samzik says, did they send it to you for free or did you buy it? They sent it to me. They offered to pay me for the review, but I was like, no, would just send me the device, let me do my thing. What? Okay, that was whatever. Anyway, so with this, oops, I clicked the wrong thing again. I'm still trying to get familiar with this. So if we come over to here, there's Comfy UI up and running. So of course you can come into here. Oh, let's just do that, I guess. Oh, I got to start it here. My bad. I brought them both up, but didn't start them. It's a distinction, apparently. There we go. So it's starting. We'll give it a minute, I guess. I should have been more diligent. There we go. So we'll click open. Nope, it's not what I wanted. Now we'll close this. Go to there and Comfy UI. Here we go. You have to access the website via their official URL. That is something that they're working on. Because like if you look, it's desktop.me.alaris.com, and you're absolutely right. They are working on, because one of my first comments was, people are going to love this, but they're going to hate that they have to use an internet connection to do stuff on their local machine. So they're in an upcoming update in the next week or so. There should be an option for a local only version of the OS. As it currently stands, this does have to be run on this. That said, it's being run through a Cloudflare tunnel to do this. So we're not even running through the Alaris servers. It's being routed through Cloudflare using a Cloudflare tunnel. You can change that. There's actually some settings so that you can set up your own reverse proxy, but they're working on an option for a local only option here. Can I go full screen there? Is that an option? What is that? No. All right. So let's go over to here. No, don't do that. And let's take a look at like templates, right? I've got a couple of templates in here. Image editing, no. This one, right? So this one. The one thing that I've had issues with on this is getting the different LLMs or the different requirements, whatever the back end is for like image generation. And if we were using Ollama, it would be an LLM. I don't know what they are, but each of these different templates requires a different set of criteria to work, right? And some of these you can connect to third-party systems, like OpenAI Sora. You can connect to Cdance. Like you can connect to different outside platforms as well, or you can do stuff locally. So like if I click this, it's going to be like, hey, you need to download these things, and then you got to put them in a certain spot on the server. There's an option theoretically to do that with Comfy UI. You can go to model management and you can search for those models here. but it currently puts them in the wrong folder and makes it useless, and you're doubling your efforts. So I download these and then go and upload these where they need to be, and then everything works just fine. So that's one of the issues that I have had with this. No, don't save that. So like this one, I know will work fine. We'll just tell it to do 4, and really, of course, it's going to make me look like a jerk. Was it this one? Oh, it was this one, actually. We'll run this one. I wanted that one closed. There we go. Yeah, no, don't save that. There we go. We'll click run. So now there's already some predefined stuff in there that's just so you can get an idea of what to type in, basically. So we'll give this a minute. Like it's loading things up. Like it's loading that back end in, and then it will start generating the images. I told it to do 4 images here. We can see that right there. So we'll give this a minute to do its thing, and we'll see what it spits out. While it's doing that, though, let's talk about some other stuff that it can do. It gives how many resources or how many system resources, yeah, and it's showing all of that, including like the temperature of the GPU. Like it does some pretty good. I really appreciate that. This is using a ton of memory though, like as you would expect it to. Now it's going to start kicking out some images for us. I can see that already coming up. Let's zoom out. There we go. So there we go. There's the image, some of the images, right? Like it did like 4 images in what, a minute? So it's not too bad. I think they're all identical, which is weird. But I played with it a little bit yesterday and shared some stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. But again, there's a ton of different, this is Comfy UI, obviously. So whatever templates are available in Comfy UI, you can do right here on this device in the comfort of your own home, rather than uploading all of your stuff to a third-party solution. But what's actually really neat about this, if we go to, let's go to the market, it's not just AI stuff that it can do, right? Obviously, that's a big push, but you want a self-host image? Cool, you can do that from right here. You can do Jellyfin or Navidrome or a Firefox instance, a WordPress, like this, just click and go, basically, right? And I really like that it's not just an AI box, right? It's also a self-hosting box where you can install N8N, or you can install, all DocMost, a Fine or a Fiend, NocoDB, like Mattermost. I've actually considered doing Mattermost just because, hey, look, there's Sterling PDF like we talked about earlier. Like all of these are available to host as apps on this system. So like it was mentioned earlier, it's very much like Synology or Casa OS. It's a pre-built ecosystem that you can use their marketplace to install things. That said, there was somewhere, was it here? I don't remember where it was. So this is actually running on I think K3S or Kubernetes, however you want to do that. And you can, because it uses Helm charts, there is a way, and for the life of me, I can't remember how to get there, where you can upload your own Helm charts and deploy other apps. So it's definitely got a lot of versatility. And again, this is just the operating system. This is outside of the Alaris One hardware, right? We're just talking about the software of Alaris right now. I had never even heard of it until recently. I really wish I could figure out how it was. I got to a point where I was able to install, or I was able to find out where to install. That's that. Was it over here? Control Hub? Don't think it was under Control Hub. But anyway, you can install things via Helm chart, which I'm super not familiar with, so I can't even speak knowledgeably on what that even means. I think it's like a Docker Compose for Kubernetes, but I could be way off, and I acknowledge that. Oh, here we go. It's under My Alaris, upload custom chart, and then you can do that from there. Upload, you can do that there. Studio, you haven't installed anything yet. CLI, haven't installed anything yet. Settings, you can, if there were other remote market sources, you could add another marketplace there. And again, this is all about the Alaris aspect, the Alaris operating system at this point. But this is kind of the Alaris One kind of takes it to the next level, and it's like, here's an all-in-one solution, plug it in, activate it on your phone currently, and then you're off to the races. I want to take the bottom off, but I'm going to wait until after the initial review, I think, because I don't want to accidentally break something. That would be very sad making. Was that, what the hell? What is this? There we go. But like under the control hub, you can see all kinds of different information here as far as like what cores it's using, how much memory it's using. Like Comfy Share or Comfy UI is using 32 gigs of system memory. Whisper, I don't think I'm doing anything there. I had some issues, honestly, with Whisper. I use Whisper for my subtitles and my videos. This particular app, again, this isn't an Alaris app. This is Whisper Web UI being brought in to Alaris. Has some limitations on how long your clips can be and how large the file size can be. But you can get information about all kinds of stuff in here as far as what's going on. Apparently, this used to be called Terminus, which I wasn't aware of at first. But lots of good stuff in here. I think it's a cool product. Even taking the hardware out of it, I like the idea of Alaris, the software. If we look at Alaris One, there's their website. This is what the device looks like. This thing right here. It does have a power cable on it that they're not showing. It also does have, I think, Wi-Fi 6 and a 2.5 gig LAN port. There's also a USB port and an HDMI port, but I don't know how much of that is going to change because I have like pre-release hardware. The packaging was really nice, I'll say that. But like there's built on OpenStack standards and an open source stack. Again, you bring your own hardware, deploy on this, manufacture with Alaris. So there's lots of different options here. So this is currently the AI that I'm dealing with. I can absolutely see once I get more familiar with deploying some of this, it will absolutely become part of my routine or whatever. But yeah, it's relatively small. It's like 3 mini PCs wide, I guess, maybe 2.5 mini PCs wide. But I dig it. It's a cool piece of hardware. I dig the software. Big fan of that so far. I've still got a long way to go with it before I'm fluent with Alaris, but I'm digging what I'm finding with it. It may actually get me into looking at Helm charts and Kubernetes because that's what this is built on. I don't think it supports Docker Compose. I think that's all Helm charts. I like Proxmox for self-hosting and lab, but I don't know if I can pass through GPU with Proxmox yet. You can. Just give it a go. There's lots of tutorials out there on how to do it. Does the Windows thing use QEMU? I don't know. I haven't actually deployed a Windows setup here. That's a fair question. Let's see what we can find. Let's just search. I wish that let's do Windows. Windows, right? This app helps you run Windows on Alaris. There's a typo there. Based on Docker's Windows inside a Docker container, default credentials, Please change the username, password. I don't know. Let's see. 188 megs. That's crazy. Let's see what it does. I'm genuinely curious. Required memory, 6 bytes. Required disk, 128 bytes. 4 cores. I'm confused by that. That doesn't seem right. But, it is whatever. This installs Windows 11 Pro by default. ISO downloader, KVM acceleration, web-based viewer. I don't know. Apparently this is Windows in Docker. That's all I can really tell you at this point, unfortunately. Where does the GitHub link lead to? Oh, let's see. Docker Windows. It goes to there. I've never deployed this before, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. Because I'm kind of curious. I don't know why I would do this. I genuinely have no idea why I would do this. Here's the thing, though. One of the big things about Alaris and what they're trying to do here is that all of the different apps that you're running are kind of in their own sandbox, right? So they can't communicate with each other. So I guess for isolation and testing, this might make sense. Let's click open. Open. I clicked open. Why aren't you opening? Maybe it's still loading. Hey, there it is. That's fun. No idea. Downloading Windows 11 from joinalaris.cn. Huh. That's a thing. It is a spicy price. I don't disagree with that. Again, you're also getting a 5090. You're getting 96 gigs of RAM. You're getting a 2 terabyte OS or a 2 terabyte drive, and you're getting the Core Ultra 9 CPU prepackaged and ready to go. So there's always going to be trade-offs, right? But getting a 5090, even though it is technically a mobile 5090, I feel like it's reasonable-ish. One of the things, though, that I was curious about is, because I haven't plugged an HDMI into it on the boot up process, so I don't know what the BIOS looks like or the UEFI or whatever it's got. So what would stop somebody from then repurposing that hardware to do something else with it, right? So there's lots of opportunities there. I just don't know what they are yet. So it's for some people it's going to be worth it. For some people it's not. I'm stoked that I get to test it out. I don't have to pay for it. So I don't know. There was something else. Oh, I guess while this is doing its thing, the other thing that I think is kind of neat about it, and again, way overkill, is that you can basically install whatever Steam games you want, have this as a headless server, and then use the Steam streaming to maybe play your favorite game on a mini PC in your bedroom, right? Like, or whatever, but have all of the processing done on this device on Steam headless with that 5090, with that processor, and have all of the rendering done here, and then just shot over to your local computer. Even on a 1 gig network, I've had really good results with that. So like cloud gaming, but on Alaris, exactly, yeah. But all in-house, like in your own, wherever you want to store this. Like, when we looked at it a minute ago, Alaris 1, right? It's small, right? Like this is not far off. And again, this isn't necessarily final hardware, but there's no blinky lights on the front of it. The power button on the back lights up, and the network, the LAN port lights up as you would expect them to. But that's the only light. It's relatively quiet, like even under local cloud gaming, kinda, yeah. But if you didn't want to. Maybe you want a game on your TV, right? And you don't have access to bring your You didn't have access to bring your PC over to the TV or whatever, right? Grab a mini PC that you've probably got laying around somewhere, and install Steam on it, and then stream that over. Now you've got a badass gaming machine that's also got AI on it, that's also got self-hosting on it, that's also got a 50, 90, and 96 gigs of RAM on it. The value proposition is there, as long as you don't look at it as just one thing or the other. And that's where a lot of things fall apart, is people look at it like we talked about earlier on Jim's Garage's post. Oh, that's an AI machine. Yep, and it's several other things too. So it's a value proposition that you got to decide for yourself if it makes sense or not. How are we doing over here? We're still downloading. Holy cow. But yeah, I've been playing Fallout 76 recently. I played it when it first came out, and it was garbage. I hated it. Played it for a few hours and hated it. And then we had some friends over the other night, and somebody was like, Fallout 76 is the best Fallout. And I was like, you're dumb. And he's like, no, really, give it another shot. They've changed it a lot. And they really have. I'm really enjoying Fallout 76. So I've got that installed on here. I haven't actually done it there because it's a live game. Like it's an online game. And I think that latency could screw things up. But installing like Fallout 4 or Cyberpunk 2077, not an online game, I think it would do really, really well with that. Bottom line is, it's robust hardware that allows you to do almost anything you want. Yeah, that's exactly it. And it just sits. I mean, you could put it, on a shelf in your rack. You could put it on your desk. You could put it on anywhere really, because it's not an offensive looking device, right? It's a nice looking device. Again, there's no blinking lights on the front of it. Nobody would have any idea what it was. So I'm really stoked about it. The thing is, it is Zima board with better hardware and different software. Basically, yeah, and that's one of the comparisons they asked me to make, was that sorry, I didn't mean to bump that they wanted me to say, hey, look, it's like a NAS operating system or a Zima operating system. It's along the same line, just really beefy hardware, comparatively anyway. So yeah, you can see it. And again, it's on Kickstarter, or it's getting ready to be on Kickstarter. And they've got some promotional stuff here, that sort of thing. Yeah, I'm not a big user of AI, but if I had one, I'd use it. I'm more inclined to explore, more knowing that Microsoft, Google aren't getting any more of my data, right? And that's what I love, is that, you could have this set up, because again, these are all isolated applications in Alaris. You could spin up a testing server if you were doing something. Maybe you've got an email that you think might be malware, or an attachment that might be malware, right? You've got an isolated instance here of Windows, though it is taking a while. Or you can self-host all kinds of different apps. And if you're familiar with Helm charts, you can build your own Helm charts and host them here as well. Like, there's a lot of versatility with this system, and with that much RAM and that CPU and GPU. I think the power supply on it's 330 watts. So it's not a high powered machine, but it's not a low powered machine either. And that's a good point. I'm curious about the GPU pass through on that. I was really hoping that this would download faster, but it is coming from a Chinese server for some reason. I don't know. We'll see. But it is getting ready to be launched on a Kickstarter. So there's always that risk, right? And I don't know that these guys have built any other hardware in the past. They've sent me a bunch of material to read through to help me give as much information as I can in the video. But there's all kinds of stuff going on here. It is absolutely, yeah, it's expensive, but again, you're getting the 5090, you're getting the new CPU, you're getting 96 gigs of RAM. Like, you're getting a decent amount of hardware for that price. Let's see, laptop with 5090 GPU. So here's this laptop with the same processor, or sorry, the same GPU, 50% more RAM, a 2 terabyte drive. It is a laptop GPU. I thought I said that, but this Lenovo has basically the same specs, and it's more expensive, or roughly the same price. Yep. In fact, okay, here, this is even closer. This Area 51 Gaming, this is the same processor. The Core Ultra 275HX, same processor that we've got here. Let's come back over to here, right? My hardware, Core Ultra 275HX. Let's get my dumb face out of the way there. And the 5090 laptop GPU, 2 terabyte drive, 94 gigs of RAM. So we're getting more RAM in the Alaris One than we are here for a lower price, right? So the price that they're asking for isn't unreasonable, right? This is the same thing, 64 gigs of RAM, $4,000. Asus, same thing, same processor. We're getting 3 times the RAM in this one for a cheaper price. So again, I don't think what they're asking for is unreasonable for this. Their prices are very competitive for the same hardware. It absolutely sticker shock. It absolutely is sticker shock to see this device be $3,000. But when you compare it to a laptop with the same specs, this is cheaper, or at least the same price, but often cheaper. So it's an interesting value proposition to have something that that's got this operating system on it. You can game on it. You can do AI on it. How much would a comparable gaming PC cost? It depends. Let's see. Oops, no. 5090 with 96 gigs of RAM. This has got the Core Ultra. This is one step above in the GPU range, but it's $6,000. And I don't know which 5090 it is. Specs. Oops, wrong one. Specs. It just says RTX 5090. Okay, so apparently this one's got 32 gigs of RAM, so that's a little bit more. But again, looking at it from this is effectively the same thing. Not exactly. There's never going to be an apples to apples comparison in something like this. But when we're looking at these full stack, like the full size gaming PCs, $4,500, right? That's the cheapest one I'm seeing there. So even that argument falls apart because you're getting more or less the same thing for even more money. So, I've only ever seen this GPU get up to like 85 degrees, I think, when I pushed it for a while. So look, this device isn't going to please everybody. It's not. But when you're asking, well, how does it compare in price to a laptop with those specs or a desktop with those specs? It compares very well. And yes, I understand the difference between the desktop GPU and the laptop GPU are different. I get that. But even if you compare it to the laptop specs, it compares very well. So again, it's not going to be for everybody, but I think it's an interesting value proposition for those who are interested in having a device like this that can game, that can do AI, that can do self-hosting, that can do all of these things in one box and just sit quietly on your shelf. So again, it's not going to be for everybody, and that's fine. Wow, it's actually installing Windows here. I'm curious to see what this does. Also, it's smaller, which is harder to do, right? So it's got the Tiano Core BIOS or whatever, which is pretty standard from what I've seen. I think that's the same thing that like Proxmox uses. Let's see, man, almost there. But again, this isn't available to purchase right now. Like I said, this is going to be on Kickstarter. I don't know if there's I know there is a Kickstarter link somewhere. I just don't know where it is. Is it over there? Explore on GitHub. But again, if you want the software and not the hardware, cool. You can bring your own hardware. Like it's really just that simple as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll down and see. Also, from an AI perspective, like depending on which version of these different things, like this could easily pay for itself relatively quickly. Like I've checked some of these prices, and yeah, like it's it is what it is, as they say. There's apparently what the inside of it looks like. I haven't torn mine apart to see for sure. That's what this price tag was saying right here. If you're using these things, it could cost you $30,000 a year for a 5-person team. Or you can spend $3 or $4,000 for this, depending on when you get it, and then you've got everything in house, and you can load your own backends into each one of them, right? So, so it's I'm intrigued by this, and I'm glad some of you guys agree with me. Let's do this. Let's do Polaris 1 Kickstarter. Here we go. Right, so there. If you want to go check out the Kickstarter, there you go. There you can go get notified when it releases. Again, there's not a ton of information on here. Like all the specs are there. The biggest question that I had was the I/O, and it's very minimal I/O. All right, Forsaken, have a good one. Thanks for hanging out. Almost there. Yay. All right, cool. There's Windows. No sound. Let's look at taskbar or task manager. Over here. It doesn't look like it passed the GPU through. That's unfortunate. But it recognized the CPU, which I dig. Change to logical processors. Interesting. Settings. Interesting. Well, there's a Windows setup for you. I mean, it took a while to download. And then I would hope that it would have saved that image. I'd hate to have to do that like every time you want to load one of those up. That'd be no fun at all. All right, well, it did that. So anyway, that's the Alaris stuff that's coming up. Again, I know it's not going to be for everyone. I think it's a cool piece of hardware. I like the value proposition on it. I like that I can have all of this in home and do a lot with it. So, yeah, that's it. But I think I'm going to start wrapping this up. We've been going for I am going to make a video on it later on. It's on my list. I've got like 3 different sponsored things coming up. And I say sponsored in this because they sent me the device, but they didn't actually pay me for my opinion. Try accessing it on a browser on port 8600. None of this is accessible locally at this point, unfortunately. It's a conversation that I've had with them. And it kind of is what it is at this point. But yeah, so content's coming soon on this. Just kind of sharing this with you a little bit. And oh yeah, it is QEMU. There you go. Somebody was asking that. It is. There you go. So yeah, I think it's a cool product. I'm excited to have the opportunity to look at it and share it with you guys. Again, link to the Kickstarter is up there. But yeah, that's that. Oh no, you're good, man. That's if you're self-hosting on your own hardware and aren't using their setup through this. It should be, but the way it's currently configured doesn't allow it to be available locally as well. And it is something that they're working on. And I got I got an email about that the other day because I asked about it. In an update that I think is coming this coming week or possibly the week after, they will have hopefully the local option as well. But for the sake of authentication, I think it will still require an authenticator app. Just to make sure that everything is being secured properly. So, yep. But yeah, guys, I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go be a potato for a while. I can hear my voice going. I'm hearing it before I'm feeling it, which is something. But thank you guys to everybody who hung out. Apparently I've got a message on my phone, so that's fun. Oh, Sven, thank you for that. Thank you for the donation, Sven. Super appreciated. Thank you guys to everybody, or thank you to everybody who has supported me, who got me to 100,000, who got the channel to 100,000, because it's not just me. It's really a whole community here, and I know that sounds cliche or whatever, but hitting 100,000 was huge. Happened on Halloween, which I thought was great. I thought that was pretty cool. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody. I'm gonna go be a potato for a while, let my voice rest, and probably play some Fallout 76. If you guys play, maybe we'll run into each other. But yeah, we'll chat again soon. Videos coming this week, and live streams next week as well. So have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.